fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot with your girl, coming at you with another pick a card reading. I would love to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you, and if you're new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And we do things differently around this channel. So with that being said, if the messages happen to resonate with you, it'd mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And if you are interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It will have all the information that you need in order to do so. Today, by popular demand and request, we are doing another What Does Your Boss Secretly Think of You But Won't Say? It's been a while since I've done this, and today, for whatever reason, I'm on an animal kick, and so today I was guided to draw all of my animal decks with the exception of one, and we're actually going to be using the Bird Message deck by Susie Green. This is such a beautiful deck. I don't bring it out enough. Of course, I have way too many decks to choose from. But yeah, we're going to be using this one today. Let's hop to your prayer and we'll get your reading right underway. I was totally singing The Little Mermaid before I started this video, so I don't know if that means something to someone, but yeah. I sing this song a lot, but it was just really weird because I was in my middle of my prayer and I was doing all this stuff, getting ready for the reading, and then all of a sudden, here I am singing the song, and I was like, oh, okay. Maybe you like The Little Mermaid, or maybe you've talked about The Little Mermaid with your boss. That's just kind of a channeled message coming through here, so let's just go with it. My beloved source, this prayer is for anyone and everyone that comes onto this channel, whether it's for a moment's time or for the entire time. Today I ask that you wrap everyone in blessings, light, truth, helping them to move forward with their journeys. Being human is rough. It's heavy. It's hard. Of course, we want to know that we're doing the right things, and we want to be congratulated and admired for the work that we do. And sometimes we're often in thankless jobs, or we go underappreciated, and that can be really disheartening. It can create a lot of animosities and feelings of remorse and feeling like we're not enough. And so today I ask that you remind us all that in this here, now, here moment, we are enough, and we are appreciated and supported, and we will always be appreciated and supported by you. And even if we're not appreciated and supported by the people that we're hoping we are, that no matter what, at the end of the day, we are loved unconditionally, we are enough, and we are deserving of all good things in this life. As these words are spoken upon this tribe, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Ase. Thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. Let me get this set up over here. If I can get it in the holder. So funny. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to chuffling. Alright, source, what Bird Messages Oracle cards are going to help us better understand what my fellow humans' bosses think of them secretly but won't say? What do my fellow humans' boss secretly think of them but won't say? What does their boss secretly think of them but won't say? Okay, thank you. What does their boss secretly think of them but won't say? What Bird's Message Oracle card is going to better help us understand these messages today, source? Alright, so for pile number 1, what Bird Messages Oracle card is going to help us better understand what pile number 1's boss secretly thinks about pile 1 but won't say? What does pile number 1's boss secretly think about pile 1 but won't say, source? One card, please. Whoa, thank you. Whoa. Flipping all around. All right, for pile number 2 source, what bird message oracle card is going to help us better understand what pile number 2's boss secretly thinks about them but won't say? What does pile number 2's boss secretly think about pile number 2 but won't say? Thank you. And for pile number 3 source, what does pile number 3's boss secretly think about them but won't say? What bird messages oracle card is going to help us better understand that? Thank you. All right, collective message. We've got, okay. We've got the red and yellow barbet. Harmony returns even after wrenching loss. This is an interesting card to come out as a collective energy. It's giving me that energy of not ever been appreciated for you being you and doing the hard work that you've done prior in your past. And there's been a lot of grief with that and a lot of loss along with that as well. Maybe having to move positions, jobs, or even a loss of a job, like losing your position and having to recover from that. And regardless if it was by your own choice or if it was a forced choice that you had to make, there's still the grief that comes with that. However, after that, realizing and recognizing that sometimes, often, a blessing in disguise is driving you towards something that is more aligned with you and where you can stand out. I mean, look at this bird. It is so brilliant and bright. And while it has some form of camouflage energy with the black and white spots here, it still stands out, right? Look at this red and yellow breasted. I mean, you can't get more fiery and like, hello, I'm here than that, right? I always feel like the yellow birds are the ones that stand out the most. Like yellow finches are just absolutely beautiful birds. And no matter what, they stand out. They stand out amongst the greenery. And even like this, they're on this red sand dune here. And so it's just something that's going to stand out even on flowers, you know, in flower fields. And you see that these birds are standing out. So really, I feel like overall, even though you might have had loss in the past, right now you're definitely standing out at work as a collective. You are bringing a work ethic and you are bringing an energy that's basically, look, this is who I am. This is where I'm at. This is what I have to offer. You take it or you leave it. Either way, at the end of the day, it's not your loss. It will be their loss. And that's what this feels like. Let's see what this says from the book. All right, I have to go to the table of contents because these are not alphabetized in the book. Just kind of randomly show up. All right. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. You were always waiting for this moment to arrive. Yeah, so interesting that that song would come up right now, right? It's just like, take these broken wings and learn to fly. And that's what you've done. You've learned to fly after having something that was really, really heart-wrenching or hard happen to you in work. You know, it's not, look, I've been on both ends. I have been fired for some really outrageous reasons, and I have also quit for some outrageous reasons as well, right? I feel like it's just part of life, but it's, when you're on the receiving end, it's difficult, right? It's difficult, and it's difficult to recover because when you get fired, it's like, holy crap. Like, I'm this terrible person. I messed up so bad that they basically said, you can't work here anymore. But after a while, like when it happened to me twice in a row with 2 jobs. And it actually wasn't my fault. And I know that's what everybody says, right? The first one, the guy, he was the son-in-law of the owner of the company, and he did not like me at all. This guy was an HR complaint, okay? He was sexist. He said some very difficult things in the office, and This is still at a time when women were still trying to find their footing in the office. Women have had a hard time in offices for a long time. And so I went to HR about him because he made motion that I talked too loud, and he's right in front of the whole floor. He's like, obviously you have a hearing problem and you're going deaf because you talk way too loud. So you need to go and get that checked out by a doctor. I was so taken aback. I couldn't believe it. I went to HR and I told HR what happened, and the next day they fired me. And that basically told me where the company was at. I was like, oh, okay, so that's that. And then the next one, I went in and I asked if I could execute the open door policy with the boss, and I was complaining about something, and I was just really frustrated about my job. And I went, and I didn't realize that he was going to go and tell the director of the floor, because we worked with a third party company, and the director of the floor also did not like me. And it's so funny because it's always these guys that don't like me that I feel like, honestly, they're threatened. And I feel like that's something that maybe you've experienced as well, is that people have been threatened by you, and that's why I'm sharing this. And so it's like nothing that you did personally, but the next day I couldn't, my key card didn't work when I went into the office, and I had to go around to the front, and they didn't even have the courtesy to call me. In fact, the guy that let me go, he didn't even have the honor to come and tell me that I had been fired. I had to call into my work and ask them why I couldn't get into the building, because the front desk told me that they couldn't say anything. Like, I had to turn over my key card to them, and they're like, there's nothing more that we can say. So I was just like let go for no good reason after that. And I was like, what the heck just happened? They didn't even have the cojones to call me and tell me, hey, we don't need you here anymore. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so, but both of them turned out to be blessings in disguise. But at the time, I was sobbing in my car, and it was awful. It was just like overwhelming. I felt like I was this terrible person that didn't deserve work. And, you go through this multitude of emotions when something like that happens. And that's that energy. But, like with this red and yellow barbette, I feel like that's because you stood out so much, and you've always stood out, and you've always had unique ideas, and you've always been highly good at your job. Even if you were brand new to whatever it was, you picked it up really quickly. And that threatens people sometimes, and let them be threatened. That's what I have to say to you. It says the barbette sings the sweetest trills and calls. And for the barbette, music really is the food of love. And isn't that funny? Because I was talking about singing the song before I started, oh my gosh, I don't even know the name of the song. What is it? Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Looking around here, you'd think, sure, she's got everything. That's the song I was singing. Okay, so like it would just kept coming out and out and out. And so it's interesting that we're talking about music with this bird. Is the food of love, because Barbette and her mate constantly affirm their partnership by singing complex duets in wondrous harmony. Duets timed so perfectly that none may know when one Barbette stops singing and the other begins. Duets that rise in the air with the dawn of sun, expressing joy incarnate. Such a complex relationship. Yet, if the male Barbette absents himself, a young predator will take his place, and soon the new pair's songs synchronize rapturously. When we suffer loss, emotional and out of place, we sometimes feel we can never be happy again, that nothing may take place of what has gone. If your heart suffers this terrible heaviness, Barbette asks you to listen to her joyous duet celebrating life and love, and to trust that harmony will be restored to your heart more quickly than you know. Oh my gosh, I love that. What a beautiful message. So overall, the collective energy is this. It's like finding harmony, right? This is all about finding alignment with what is for your highest good. And sometimes we want to hold on to things that aren't in alignment with us. It's disharmonious with our soul. And we resonate away from that, or source will resonate that situation away from us, but it doesn't mean it's without its loss, right? So remembering to grieve that loss. But it's interesting that the collective message is about a past situation. So we're coming into having a fresh mind as we move forward with this reading, and that's what I'm really feeling here. But I do feel like the main thing is that for everyone here, you stand out, and that's something that your boss does secretly think about, but won't say that you stand out more than other workers. And you know, that's that. So let's see here. Let me get this set up for you. I was gonna do all houses, but I don't know what happened along the way, and I guess I picked planet dice instead of house dice for 2 piles. So as with all things in divination, we recognize that there's a reason for everything. So that's that. All right, let me make sure I'm in frame here. So for pile number 1, we do have this 6th house dice for you to choose from. Or we have this Greckle feather for you to choose from. For pile number 2, we have this dice with the moon on it. We have this amethyst for you to choose from. Pile number 3, we have this dice with Mars on it. Or we have this heart chakra jade gemstone for you to choose from. And these are the seed sounds. Someone said this is Sanskrit for the seed sounds for the chakra, and the heart chakra, I want to say is Ham, but I'm not 100% sure. Like H-A-M. I don't remember them all. I use them constantly, but I still don't remember them all. All right, so pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, whichever pile you feel drawn to, that should be the one for you. And with that, I will see you over there. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the 6th house on it, or if you were drawn to this Greckle feather, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be a reading on what does your boss secretly think of you but won't say. First, I would love to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this channel with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and space with you. And anyone new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. We do things completely differently here on this channel, so with that in mind, if the messages happen to resonate, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. So on that note, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out, source, what does pile number 1's boss secretly think about them but won't say? What does pile number 1's boss secretly think about them but won't say? What would you like to share with us today? Okay, so we've got the South Node, Scorpio energy, and the 5th house that you are a flirt. Okay. So that's coming in. Before we even delve into what I'm getting with the dice here, let me just first say a disclaimer. What's going to come out? We're looking into how someone else is viewing you. Now, this is where they're at energetically. It changes all the time as energy is fluid, but that is in no way, shape, or form a direct reflection of who you are. Okay, this is someone else's perception of you. So please take it with a grain of sand. But these are always fun to do, so that's why it's been a highly requested reading, and I appreciate that, and I understand why. But I just want to say that as well before we get really deep into the reading. So your boss secretly thinks that you're a big flirt. That you flirt with everybody, you're a big goofball, you like to have fun with everybody, sometimes too much fun. And that there's some things that you could probably let go of and bring a more serious energy into the workplace. They also feel or think that you are someone who is envied quite a bit by others. Whether that's because you're so adventurous by spirit, or you're outgoing, or you're capable of talking to anyone and everyone, they do also secretly think that people are envious of you and they're jealous of you, and that maybe even your boss is a little jealous of you and envious of you and wishes that you would just calm down and come to focus on work and pay attention to work instead of being this bubbly, outgoing person that you are. Or just maybe it's just how you talk. You don't even necessarily have to be bubbly and outgoing. It could just be that you're capable of holding a really good conversation. You know, the art of conversation is a rarity in these days, and people oftentimes think that because you're capable of holding a conversation, you must be this big flirt. It happens just like people who are very bubbly, they think that they're flirty, and that's not necessarily true. They're just very bubbly people. It just happens, right? So this really feels like your boss is labeling you based on a cliche idea of your personality, or how you approach people, or how you present yourself to people. But your boss secretly thinks that you're super mysterious too, like you're this outgoing person, but you tell nobody anything about you. But you somehow have access secrets to everybody in the office. And I feel like that's because you're the social butterfly in the office. Maybe not because you're trying to be. It could just be because people come to you and they tell you things, you know, like, I can't make this up. So it's just like this, right? Like the other day I went to the store, and I was walking into the store, and a worker came up to me, super nice guy, super sweet, and he says, "Can I ask you for a favor?" And I was like, I didn't even say yes or no before he turned around, and he's like, "Can you please help me with my apron? It's stuck and I can't get it off." I was like, "Oh, you got it in a knot?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I wasn't trying to get it in a knot." And he's like, "Now I can't get it off." And so I untied it for him, and as soon as I untied it for him, he had this big sigh of relief, and he turned around and he said, "Thank you." And I was like, "You're welcome." And he just walked away. And that was our interaction. But it was like so random. I didn't know him, he didn't know me, but he came up to me like that. And I feel like people are like that with you in the office. Like, you don't work directly with them, but somehow everybody knows you. And it's because people feel very safe when they're with you, right? They feel very, very much like you're not judging them, or like you're gonna make them smile and laugh if you work in something very difficult, like in a difficult department or a difficult type of job. You know, collections are coming through here for me for some reason, and maybe you work some type of collections, or you work some kind of consolidation came out really loud as well. Okay, so something like that, something to do with finances, and dealing with people's finances is never easy, right? Even in bank jobs, like, it's just never easy. It's difficult because you're dealing with people's livelihoods, and it's not like you're out to make them miserable or anything like that. It's like a lot of people don't want to take accountability for where they're at, and by extension, if you're the face of a company, you become the problem, even though you're not. And so I feel like you're just there trying to make things less harsh. And even if that part doesn't resonate with you, I do feel like for you, it's just, I'm just here to do my job and to go home. But your boss secretly thinks that you need to let go of this energy, that this is maybe not true to who you are, but I actually feel like this is very authentic for you. Maybe you've lived in that very serious energy. So this could be like a full circle type thing where you were very serious at one point and now you're shifting, and because you're shifting, like maybe your boss just isn't on board with that. So, all right, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of it. We're going to be using my Tarot Marseille today. So source, what does pile number one's boss secretly think about them but won't say? Yeah, that you're nosy. Interesting. You know too many people's problems. This could be a boss that's jealous because they want to be admired the way that you're admired, and they're not. What does pile number one's boss secretly think about them but won't say? Now, for someone, this could be that you work with family or someone who's like family. Yeah, or an ex. Ooh. I'm sorry that that's the case. Interesting. Alright, source. What does pile number one's boss secretly think of them but won't say? That would explain the flirtiness too, like having a problem with the flirtiness. Or believing that you're being flirty when you're being outgoing, right? So if it's an ex, or if it's someone that you used to, you know, someone that you used to know. Like you could have cut this person out, they could have cut you out, and then, you know, the universe is crazy sometimes. It brings people back into our lives that we never thought we would see ever again. And so that might be something that happened here, and they just happen to be one of your bosses or someone that's a supervisor, and the job was too good to pass up type energy, or you didn't know. Yeah, you didn't know. And again, whatever the circumstances are, no judgment here, you know. Everybody needs to work for their living. Yeah, oh my goodness. This boss of yours is interesting energy. Yeah, so they're definitely thinking of other things that don't pertain to the workplace. And I mean, not that they could have a crush on you, they could want you in that way. That's not really what I'm thinking about. It's almost like this boss is particularly invested in your personal life and wants to know about your personal life, but you're incredibly secretive and mysterious about your life, and so they're secretly wondering about you all the time. Like, what is pile one doing? Where are they going? What's on their mind? Who are they hanging out with tonight? Why are they talking to that person? It's like they're overly bothered or invested in what's going on with you. They can't really let it go like that, which would make sense if this is family, or if this is like an ex or someone that maybe you had a one-night stand with, and then, hey, the universe was like, guess what? And you're like, oh, lordy, 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 lordy here. Yeah, they definitely secretly think that you're a temptation. You're an attraction that's forbidden. Okay, and that somehow you exploit others, or that you're exploiting them because of your flirtiness. This is next level. Okay, but that's the thing right now. They're having difficulty in detaching themselves from this unhealthy idea of relationship or bond to you. This could be a married person. This could be someone who is much older or much younger than you. You know, and not that age is a big thing here, but there's like some sort of taboo that's happening with this situation. They could be a Capricorn, a Pisces, a Scorpio, or Leo. You could be a Capricorn, Pisces, Scorpio, or Leo. You could have Pisces rising and a Scorpio moon, or a Leo rising and a Capricorn moon, or Capricorn sun is coming in. I'm also hearing Taurus sun is coming in as well. But there's this energy where they're secretly wanting something, and so there's a lot of that's what I said. They're jealous of you, but it's more like they're jealous of all the people that talk to you because they want something more with you that is forbidden. It's a very confusing social situation for them. So they think that with you in the workplace, it's leaving them confused, and they're not comfortable with you because of this shift in your energy. Yeah, this is a shift in your energy. You're healing something. And they're greedy. They want you all to themselves. So there's some sort of shift that happened here for you, and they want they want you all to themselves. So they're thinking about naughty things. They're thinking about things that should not really be at hand here. And if this isn't resonating with you, definitely check out one of the other piles. But that's what's going on. I do feel like for many of you, this is something that you've already sensed. Like, you've felt this energy, you've gotten very aware of this energy. In fact, I feel like many times when you have to deal with your boss, you may feel very uncomfortable with your boss because of this energy. But I do feel like that is also something, like, maybe you're not the only one that's had to deal with that there's been other people in your job that have dealt with the same energy from this person, but they're not vocalizing it. They just exude a very creepy, it's a very creepy aura. It's just a very creepy, right? And I do feel like your boss does think that there's an untapped potential with you, that you're capable of creating so much more, and they would like to find out. But again, it's not for your benefit. This would be for their own benefit. So they're secretly thinking about things that, they're excessively thinking about these things. Like, excessively thinking about you. They're excessively thinking about what they could do with you, what they could be with you. They're definitely stuck in some sort of illusion that is not beneficial to you or to them. And they may have something that they hold over your head. Part of that's because you're this magician energy. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this makes sense. Like, you're manifesting something new here. That's what I was saying. Like, you're healing, and so that's manifesting as a new energy about you that is more attractive and more alluring is what's coming through. And you're not putting your emotions out there. In fact, you're being led by very solid reasons, right? I'm taking action based on what I'm spiritually guided to and what it is that I want to manifest in this realm. Oh my gosh, the sun is so bright, it's like blinding me. So I feel like that's also synchronistic to you. I feel like you're blinding them with this brilliance all of a sudden, and you're building this foundation, but you're also very aware of the red flags that are around you with this 9 of Swords that's coming out. So you're very aware of what it is that they're thinking, or how they're treating you, or how even they're approaching you. And that discomfort is for reason. And so I feel like for you, it's more just staying really to yourself. But no matter how you try to stay to yourself, everybody wants to be around you. So your boss does secretly think that you're a distraction. And that while they're grateful for the distraction, there's a lot of underlying issues that come with that. Yeah, Mars energy, move forward and defend self. So I feel like more than anything, Pile 1, for you, it's about making sure that you're comfortable in your environment and defending yourself where you need to. And it's difficult because, when you're in an uncomfortable situation like that, they could have made advances at you, but I don't feel like for many of you that they did. I just feel that it's this creepy aura that they give off, this creepy feeling like, okay, well, so we're going to deal with it that way today, okay. Or like you've caught them staring at you while you're working, like if you work on the phones or something like that, you've caught them staring at you from their office, just staring at you, and maybe even you caught them eye to eye and they still just continue to stare at you. That kind of creepy. Like, most people would look away like, oh crap, they caught me staring, like I better go do other things, you know, but they don't. They just stare at you even more, and it might be you're the one that has to look away, because otherwise they'll never look away. That type of creepy. We have Cardinal. The polarities of your spiritual pursuits and physical pleasures are out of balance, so do whatever is necessary to bring them back into equilibrium. And I don't feel like you're out of balance. I feel like this person's energy, your boss. They're very much out of balance, and the thing is that polarity of you being in balance is striking their inner demons, but it's also intriguing them in a way that they didn't know was possible, and so there's this discomfort that's arising around you. Yeah, so your boss secretly thinks some interesting things. Responsibility. I knew this card was going to come out. I saw it before I started shuffling this deck. I knew it was going to come out. Responsibility. So your boss does secretly think that you're very responsible. You take care of business. You do what needs to be done. You come in and you do what's necessary of you. And that's a strong, powerful energy to be in. Okay, thank you. I brought out a lot of my old decks today because I was feeling nostalgic. Yeah, but I do feel like with Whale Breach here, like Source is saying, like you might need to step away from the office for a time. You know, this talks about taking a break. Not a coffee break, not a 15-minute break at work. This literally talks about getting away from the office and getting out of town for a little while so you can recharge. So you may have to recharge from this energy. Okay, there might be times when it's like, when it's the weekend, you literally check out. Nobody call me. I'm on call. None of that crap. Like, I'm out. But there might also be times when you inadvertently end up connecting with your boss outside, because I don't get creepy stalker vibes, but I do get creepy vibes. But I feel like maybe they're asking people that you talk to where they're going to see if they're going to connect. And so where sometimes they don't connect with you, sometimes they will. Oh, I don't know. This energy, like, take it as you will. Like, it's just like, it's not like they're going out of their way to physically know where you're at all the time, but it's just they want to run into you and they want it to seem like it's accidental, but it's not. There's always enough. Yeah, they just can't get enough of you. Like, there's nothing. I don't know. This is like weird exy vibe. You know what I mean? So maybe you do work with your ex. Yeah, maybe your ex has a leadership position in your job. I don't know. Like, I never know what's gonna come out in these readings until we're in them, and so here we go. But being very clear here, it's they've got feelings for you, but I also don't feel like they're like relationship status feelings. I just feel like it's lust. They're very lustful. That's what they are. Fixed. Keep on keeping on. Yeah, I just feel like for you, it's focus on your goals. That's the main thing here from Source, is focus on your goals. Wow. What does pile number one's boss secretly think of them but won't say? Now, of course, your boss isn't going to say something like this because, you know, there's definitely boundaries. Doubt. I release the need to know all the answers. Yeah, I do feel like there's a lot of discrepancies between the two of you. Like, they doubt that you would want to be with. Of course, like, I feel like they doubt it because they know that they're in a weird energy, but they don't know how to fix it. It's like the nerd that never grew social skills, but just stands in the corner and stares at people, you know? And they know that it's weird, but they keep doing it anyways because they don't want to challenge themselves to be different. That's what this feels like. And no, nothing against nerds. I'm a big nerd myself, but that's the type of energy that it's giving. Yeah, house 2, physical security, possessions, material values, and self-worth. Like, I feel like you're here in this job because it offers a lot of benefits to you where there's security. And so this is like either a stepping stone or you're going to be moving away from this department eventually into something else. And that might also really kind of trip your boss out. I was not expecting this at all. It says you're too fragmented so do whatever it takes to get grounded. Yeah, so they're not grounded, okay? So you're very grounded energy. You might also bring a lot of peace to them because you're so grounded, and they're mistaking that for something else. Dog, yeah, your loyalty and faithfulness is misplaced by serving too many masters. So I just feel like it's saying like they're misplacing the type of emotions that they have for you. This is a very interesting energy. This is not a healthy connection with Tarantula here. This is a very burdensome connection. Yeah, there's something here. It's like you don't like dealing with them, and that might be why you talk to more people around the office. So like just, you know, oh, I need to know people so that way if they see me talking to my boss, like I can create an out for myself. And that's what this feels like. Yeah, Eagle Communion. Something about your intuition has told you this many times, and Source has made this very clear that this is not a healthy connection, this boss that you have, but the job itself might be exactly what you need or want at this time. And so there's kind of like this weird in-between space where you can't move on, but it's just very uncomfortable at times too. But when you're focused on work and you're doing your job and like they're not around, you're okay. I feel like you're fine. You like what you do. It's cool. It's just there's this weird boss in there, and you know we've all had one weird boss. Yeah, so Source saying just be at peace here. Something about flying above this situation too. A lot of bird energy coming in here. It's like seeing this from a higher perspective. You know, this could be that they're trying to relive out some fantasy that they have. This could be them trying to, you know, replace something that happened in their lives. This is obviously them coming from a place of trauma. So just continue to see this from a higher perspective. I know it's not really what they're secretly thinking about you, but it is in a way because this is all that they're thinking about. They're not worried about your job performance because they know that you're going to do your job. They're not worried about what it is that you do while you're at work because they know you're going to do what it takes to get the things done that need to be done. It's all that other stuff that's happening when they're not focused on work. They're focused on you. Yeah, first quarter moon, we have faced those obstacles. We see this as a light and shadows situation. So you're blinding them with your light, but they're still in their shadow and they're not facing that part of themselves because right now you're in a place of blessings. Yeah, I do feel like this job is a blessing for you, but there's just this, you know, blessings are hard. We want it to be perfect, right? We want all our blessings to be perfect, 100%. We don't have to deal with any hardships. It's just super easy. It's this, that, and the other, but oftentimes it still comes with adversity. And that's part of our spiritual growth and being okay with that. And I feel like you've definitely found some sense of compromise for yourself in this. Why you're talking to people. You found an out for yourself. Yeah, gratitude. I'm thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. So Source really focusing on you today, pile one, because there's not much that we can really focus on your boss because they're in a very weird place right now. And they're more concerned about you as what you would bring in as an inappropriate relationship than as a worker. But I do feel like you're very grateful for the position that you have and when you're not having to deal with this creepy boss. And if you're asking who this is, it's probably not for you. This is probably not your reading, okay? So try one of the other ones. But I do feel like this is that energy where it's like you're very grateful for what you have. You've taken this opportunity. You realize this is a huge blessing for you. And you're at peace with the blessing. It's just that there's that weird connection that's there. And you're like, what the heck? What am I doing here? And so it's just, I feel like you creating opportunities to steer clear of them for the sake of steering clear of them, unless it has to do about talking about performance or the literal job itself, that's a very healthy move for you, okay? So we're going to take a look at this card. I'm going to read this from the book. No, didn't I say you're alluring to them? Resist the alluring spell of those who would deceive in business and love. What the heck is this right now? Thank you for that confirmation, Source. This person is incredibly deceptive. Okay, and I feel like you are very aware of that. I also want to tell you, pile one, that the uppers, their bosses, and their bosses' bosses know that this person is deceptive. And so there's stuff that's happening behind the scenes that you do not have to worry about. So if this is a position that you truly want right now, and this is something you like doing and you enjoy your work, and it's just this one person, this boss that you have that's just kind of like, hang in there is what Source is saying, and keep finding a way to protect yourself in those awkward situations. Because I feel like you're not the only person that's had an awkward encounter with this person. And this is like negative awkward, okay? This really feels negative awkward, but I love that. I was saying they feel like you're very alluring, and we have the peacock saying resist the alluring spell of those who would deceive in business and love. Look at all this green and blue that's coming out, right? So I do feel like you do like this job. You like this position a lot. So I'm going to read this from the book. I got to find it from the table of contents, because these are not alphabetized. Peacock, number 55. All right. It says, a peacock's rapacious call warns herbivores of the dangerous approach of tiger and cobra. As India's forest denizens now flee from peril, so you should fly from the concrete jungle's double dealers and heartbreakers. Wow. No herbivore doubts that the tiger may pounce or that the cobra may bite, but just as a tiger can mesmerize us with her sleek, sensuous beauty and cobra attract us with her mystery, so too can their human equivalents. And isn't that funny? Like, they think you're mysterious and alluring, and it's like them projecting themselves onto you, but they're still very awkward. Oh, what an interesting energy. Peacock knows that although business meetings may promise much and be conducted in sumptuous surroundings, the mark of trustworthiness is the contract signed in witness. The first declarations of love may be attended by flowers or offerings of ambrosial foods, but true intimacy requires reliability and develops in later simplicity. Outward show, no matter how alluring, is merely ritual, which may mask much and should not be confused with the realities of long-lasting relationships for business or pleasure. So they're very confused right now by your energy, and please don't take that to heart like that's something wrong with you. No, that's them not being in a sure place of themselves, and so they're mistaking your energy as something more than what it is, and it's confusing them, and let them be confused, but you're not the first person that's confused this person this way. So I also feel like there's a lot going on behind the scenes right now to not worry that Source is going to take care of it. That's really what I'm feeling here. A Source is reminding you, isn't that funny? Like, they said that you're alluring, but they're actually the ones that fall in to that. They like try to smooth people, and they try to like pull the wool over their eyes, and they didn't do that to you. And that's another thing that has them completely bamboozled. Okay, so this is what I see here for you, Pile 1. Like, this was intense, okay? If you feel like this is your reading, leave the peacock emoji down below and say, I choose to stand out because it is my right to be seen as my authentic, bubbly, loud, amazing self, and I choose to do that. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It will have everything you need on how to do so. In order to do so, I lost my thought. Okay, with that, I would like to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this very intense message. And until next time, Pile number 1, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the moon on it, or if you were drawn to this amethyst, This is going to be a reading on what does your boss secretly think of you but won't say. I would first like to thank anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of the journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And if you're new here, welcome. This is a reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together, and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And should this message happen to resonate with you, it would mean so much to me if you're to like, comment, and subscribe below, while also keeping in mind we do things completely differently here on this channel. So with that being said, let us go ahead and hop to it and find out, what does pile number 2 boss secretly think about them but won't say, source? What does pile number 2 boss secretly think about them but won't say? What would you like to share with us today? Okay, before we get into it, I would like to first say a disclaimer. We're tapping into another person's thoughts and feelings about you. That is in no way, shape, or form a direct reflection on who you are or the truth about you as well. So what comes through, I always suggest taking it with a grain of salt, because these are purely for entertainment and also to confirm your intuition, what you're already feeling. Pile 1 was wild, okay? So I just want to mention that as we get started with your reading, pile 2. So we're going to find out what comes through. We've got the 3rd house. Interesting already. Gemini and Jupiter energy. Okay. So maybe you've known your boss for a long time. You don't have to. I feel like your boss secretly thinks that they've known you for a long time, or feels like they've known you for a very long time. They feel like you remind them of a childhood friend or their own upbringing. There's something about you that reminds them of their own upbringing. And they feel like you're an incredibly abundant person, and they think that you're capable of adapting to just about anything, and they really admire that about you. There's some sort of nostalgia when they're around you. Like as if you are an incarnation of someone that they knew from the past. As I keep getting this energy, like past energy, they've known you before, where they feel like maybe you've shared past lives together. So there could be some sort of camaraderie that has been developed between you and them that was very strong the first couple of times that you met. And maybe you're very close to your boss. And if you're not, they could also be keeping that separation for the sake of business, right? For the sake of professionalism. But it does feel like there's some sort of camaraderie here where they really feel drawn to you and they really feel close to you. Now, this, I'm just going to touch on this, okay? Because this is only for 1, maybe 2 people here. Your boss could be a labeled relationship, i.e. a twin flame soulmate situationship. And I just want to touch on that really quickly. So that could be something else that's coming in. All right. But we're not going to spend all day talking about that. And for those of you that have been with me for any amount of time, you know why that is. Because we spend too much time already focusing on that relationship connection rather than the truth of it, which is the divine connection and connecting with source. So with this, though, they really secretly think that you're someone who's easy to talk to. You're easy to get along with. You're easy to love, right? And maybe romantically, but I just feel like in general, they feel very protective of you and they're very glad that you're on their team. But there's something very familiar about you as well. And that might be why they feel like they need to protect you. It just feels like they're very protective of you. All right, we're going to dig in with the Tarot Marseille. We're going to really get to the nitty gritty today and see what comes through. All right, source, for pile number 2, what does pile number 2's boss secretly think about pile number 2 but won't say? Yeah, they feel like you're very intuitive, that you have a special gift. Like you're very aware of things before they happen. You might even have mentioned things like, oh, I feel like this is going to happen, and then it would happen. And they might seek your advice, actually, because of that. That's cute. I like that. What does pile number 2's boss secretly think of them but won't say? Like, they don't want you to know that they're seeking your advice, but they kind of can't hide it at the same time. But they might make it seem like it's just general conversation. Oh, hey, you know, this happened to me. Like, situation that's very similar to what you predicted. And what would you do if you were in that situation? But I do feel like they value your opinion for sure. What does pile number 2's boss secretly think about them? Let's say source. Okay, thank you. Does pile number 2's boss secretly think about them? Let's say. Alright. What does pile number 2's boss secretly think about pile number 2 but won't say? Okay, thank you. What does pile number 2's boss secretly think about them but won't say, source? Oh. Thank you. What does pile number 2's boss secretly think about them but won't say? Thank you. Why do I hear that? Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Stuck in the middle with you. They feel like they're secretly thinking that no one gets them the way that you do, and that you're the only person that feels the same way that they do about work. Like, all these idiots around us, and the only person that I can trust is pile number 2 to show up and do what they need to do. But of course they're not going to say that, because that would put them in a very awkward position, right? Yeah, we've got the Empress on the bottom. Yeah, they feel very protective of you, especially with the Empress here. Like, they could be, you know, very motherly. They could be very masculine. They could be very feminine. None of that really matters. But there's like almost a maternal protection of wanting to keep you safe. Like, nurturing you, caring for you. They may also give you special treatment that you're like wondering, like, are they giving me special treatment? Because it seems like they're giving me all the best accounts, or they're making sure that my day goes a lot easier, and I don't see them doing this for everyone else. So what's happening? And yeah, they are definitely extending you an olive branch for sure. They are helping you because they feel like you can handle the extra responsibility, but they also feel like you're going to be the one that gets it done. And they're not going to have to fight with you to do it. Just generic work or regular work that everybody should be showing up for and no one's showing up for. Yeah, we've got the 4 of Wands in the reverse. Interesting. Okay. A lot of reversals here. So it's really, honestly, pile 2, this is interesting. It's more about, like, so you have the romantic frustration here that you maybe remind them of someone that they were with. And so there's a little bit of romance that's coming in. The 6 of Cups kept appearing before I was getting ready for your reading. And so now I see why. So for some, there might be romance that's budding here, or a romance that wants to bud here. But, oh, my dog, she's dreaming. I don't know if you can hear her. She's wolfing, making this woof, 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 woof noise. She's so cute. She hasn't been feeling good today. Her tum-tum hurts, and so she's sleeping, and I'm glad she's sleeping because she hasn't slept all night. She was up all night, so because her poor tum-tum. So I'm glad she's sleeping. She's dreaming hard. They dream about you. But I feel like with this 4 of Wands in the reverse, like, there's a lot of romantic frustration. Like, they have dealt with a lot of broken hearts at work and outside of work, and not necessarily all romantic, just situations that have left them frustrated when they needed equal partnership, someone to show up and carry their weight. And for you, pile 2, like, that's what you're doing. You're showing up and carrying your weight, and that's a relief for them. And, you know, like, maybe they've been overly obsessed with money, and so if there's like I said, accounts, so maybe you guys do something in sales or something that's commission based, and that could be something that's important to them as well, as to perform well so that they can get commission, but no one wants to show up and do that, and so they feel very stuck based on the team that they have, or based on your colleagues, right, or your coworkers. It's like they feel like they're very stuck, like no one wants to show up and do this job, and so they feel very protective of you because you're the only person that's willing to put in the work. And so they're secretly very glad that you're on their team, because this could be a problem across the whole of your job, like the whole of your company that you work for, where there's so many people that are just lackadaisical and they don't show up and do their work, and they're just very, very lazy when it comes to it, doing the bare essentials. The bare essentials to not get fired. That's what this feels like. And when it comes to you, it's you're taking it seriously. You're doing the work. You're showing up. Yeah, you're putting forth the effort to build something, right? And so secretly, with the moon here, secretly, they want to help you succeed. So there are things that they're doing behind scenes, and they're not even letting you know about it, that are helping you in the long run. And it's because of all the situations that are going on where it's like you're having coworkers who just aren't doing their part, or are doing so little that it is putting a big burden on your supervisor, on your boss, right? And I think a lot of people nowadays, like, it's interesting because you think about 50 years ago when everybody was so proud to have work, right? Like, they took pride in their job because their job took pride in them. And so when companies stopped taking pride in their employees, we also saw a lapse in employees taking pride in their work. And it has been something that has been on the downfall quite a bit, especially in recent years. So every once in a while, you'll find a hard worker that comes out, and that's you, pile two. Few and far in between. You're not as common as you'd like to think, which is kind of cool, but at the same time kind of lame, because holy crap, why do I have to be the one that shows up and works so hard while everyone else just sits with their thumbs up their butts and does nothing? How uncomfortable is that? But they secretly think that you're this very abundant person, that you're super emotionally intelligent, and that you bring this natural human touch within a very artificial framework where everybody's being very driven by the mask that they're wearing. You're being this very authentic individual that's bringing love and light into the situation, and they appreciate that. But again, there's this want to stand up for you. I do feel like they've defended you to other people in the workplace that you may or may not know about. Yeah, and there's this passion, like their passions and desires are interfering with practical plans. So, like, it's hard for them to make practical plans because of this deep care that they have for you. Again, it could be romantic, but not necessarily. For many of you, it's not. For many of you, it's just you're the best worker they have, and they want to make sure that they focus all their attention on you, because if they lose you, their life becomes a living HE double hockey stick. And that's why they're putting so much effort into ensuring that you are comfortable and that you have what you need and that things are working out for you. And there's a lot of tensions right now, and they're worried because they recognize that there's not a lot of advancement where you're at, and they're worried about that because they know that you could very well be using this as a stepping stone. And that scares them as well, because for them, they're committed to this position right now for the long run, and they feel very stuck where they're at. And so there's definitely a lack of motivation that's going around all around the office, and they're thinking that you're the only person that's motivated. And they may have told you these things, but I feel like for the main part, they don't want to tell you these things because they don't want to put a target on your back from entitled workers. People who are like, well, I show up every day, so I should be treated just the same as the hardest workers in the office. And that, you know what, this is a boss that really cares about your performance, and it's very performance based. And so the more you perform, the more you're going to be taken care of, because they appreciate how you're making their lives easier, right? So this is someone who's going to reward hard work. They really believe in that. They're not going to reward laziness. But you have people who are showing up who are lazy, who are also entitled, thinking like, well, just because I don't go above and beyond, I still deserve all the same benefits as someone who is. And unfortunately, you know, it's unfortunate because they can't give you the praise that they want to give you, and at the same time they don't want to put a target on your back because they maybe have heard a lot of gossip or talk behind closed doors, like some of the people that are on your team, what they've said, not necessarily about you, but about other hard workers in the business. Yeah, we have Saturn coming out, flying out, feeling restricted. Yeah, exactly. They feel stuck, experiencing struggle, learning hard work and patience. So, you know, they're doing their best to work as hard as you're working and to show up with you. And I feel like sometimes maybe naturally you've been doing so much that you're feeling like you're underappreciated because of not getting a raise or not getting the pay to reflect the work that you're doing. But also realizing that you have a boss that's showing up just as hard as you are and doing just as much as you are, also underappreciated and not having the pay reflected as to how much they're working, because you have an entire other team of people who you're literally dragging along with you. And so for you, they see you as the beauty and the light in their day. Like if you're ever out sick, they're sad. If you miss a day because life happens, they're sad. But you're like the joy for them. They're very glad when you're there, and it makes a big difference for them. It helps motivate them to do what they need to do with Venus energy here. Give and receive love. Find value and see beauty. So it's like they're like, oh, pile 2 is showing up today. Great. That means we're going to have an awesome day. And no matter how hard their day is, the fact that you're there makes it a lot easier for them to face that day. Wolverine. Yeah. You're a lot tougher than you think you are. And I feel like you give them the courage to face hard things that they're going through. And so they're leaning on you a lot more than you might know energetically. And for some of you, you might not like that at all, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. But this is someone who just, like, they're going to give to you what you give into your job, and that's exactly what they see it as. And so some of you might not be taking this job as seriously as others, and that's because there's a whole spectrum of people that we're talking with here, right? It's a general reading, but there's definitely this energy that's coming in where they appreciate you so much. And they're thankful that you're there because your abundant energy, your abundant light helps them to overcome the struggles that they're facing. It could be that, you know, when they say, and I'm going to use quotations here because I don't usually cuss, but this is one of those quotes that's a curse. They curse in it. And so it's like when shit rolls downhill, okay? And that's what it is. And so that's what's happening for them. It's not just your team that's in that energy. Whenever your team or whenever the group that you're working with isn't doing what they're supposed to do, then your supervisor gets an earful. And likewise, above them, they're getting an earful because there's a lot of supervisors that aren't, or a lot of bosses that aren't doing what it is that they're doing. I keep saying supervisors, so maybe this is a supervisor that's a direct supervisor above you, but it could be a very, you know, the boss as well. On the bottom, we have Panda. Yeah, create a sacred space for yourself in your home or a place of work so they feel like you're their safe space, okay? Like they can trust you to do what needs to be done. They trust you so much. And there's just a deep sense of gratitude that's coming through here. Yeah, they see you as their equal with seahorse equality, right? You're not their subordinate. They refer to you often as a colleague, and that's something because it's like, even though they're your boss, like you do so much that they see you on the same level as them. Like I said at the beginning of this, there's that energy that's coming in like no one else gets me except for pile 2. No one else, like this whole group of people here, and the only person that gets me is pile number 2. They're the only ones that get it, and they're just really appreciative of that. Okay, that's the one that wants to come out. Thank you. On the bottom, yeah. Shaman with ancient healing wisdom. So you brought a lot of healing for them. Like before they were your boss or before you came to work for the company, they felt hopeless. But now you're here, and it's giving them a renewed sense. Okay, I'm not the only person in the world who shows up this way, right? And sometimes we need that, you know, when you start to lose hope in humanity, but then someone comes in and they show you kindness and love and compassion, and it renews your spark in humanity. And, you know, they might be few and far in between, but it's just enough to keep you carrying on. Why do we hear that song by Backstreet Boys right now? I'll be the one who'll make all your sorrows alright. I'll be the light. I don't remember all the words, but I'll be the one. The one, I think it's by Backstreet Boys. Yeah, the Backstreet Boys. That's coming in right now. So that's how they feel like I got your back, you got my back, right? You're gonna make all our sorrows okay. We're gonna do that together. And it's just, it might be sorrows at work, but that's okay. Like, we're going to make sure that we do the best that we can. I'm also getting nursed. Like, maybe you work in a nurse's station or something like that, and you have a, you know, your supervisor, your head nurse or whatever, and she's really a hard worker, or he's really a hard worker, or they're a really hard worker. And all the other nurses are just kind of like, you know, even though being a nurse is not easy. It's not easy, but I feel like it's no matter what type of job you have, there's always going to be people who do literally the bare minimum to skate by. It just happens, right? Like, I always picture the person over there chewing gum so loudly and just staring around, totally bored out of their mind. Like, oh my God, what is this? I'm just here for the paycheck. Like, you know? And it's like, but then they put so much pressure on everyone else. If everyone just did what they could do, it would make it so much easier for everyone. But they don't see it that way. They just see it like, oh, I'm entitled to this paycheck, and that's it. But yeah, it could be a nurse. You could be a nurse. You could be an RN or something like that. Lay a solid foundation. 6. Yeah, they see you as a foundational person in this position. Like, without you, it would fall apart. And they're grateful. They're just really grateful that you're there. Like, so grateful. This is someone who's so grateful for having you around, pile 2. Super grateful. We've got the 4th house. Go back to basics. Yeah, and again, this element of feeling like home to them. Feeling like, and it could be because you both have the same work ethic. Like, that's why they feel like you're home. That's why they feel so connected to you, why they feel so protective of you as well. You remind them of themselves at some point in their journey in their life, and they want to make sure that you have an environment where you can succeed. Yeah, Capricorn, I cannot make this buckle down and get to work. What is that? Is that Beyonce who sings that? Just work, 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 work. I don't remember who sings that song, but if you guys put that down in the comments, it helps out everybody else, and I really do appreciate that. 23:23 on the clock, so change, right? But you buckle down and get to work. And Capricorns, they do. Capricorns, y'all are hard workers for sure, for sure. Not that all the other zodiac signs aren't, but Capricorns, they work for the joy of it. Like, they don't work because of the paycheck. They literally work for the joy of working. It's great. All right, so what does pile number 2's boss secretly think about them? I won't say. Yeah, fear. I realize that I'm testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. They are afraid that you're going to walk out, and it's just, and it's not just that life is going to get hard for them. It's just that you're so rare. Having someone that works like you is so rare. And they're so afraid that tomorrow's going to come and you're not going to come in anymore, and you're going to find something better, which you totally deserve. And they absolutely appreciate that. And they would never, ever, ever hold you back. Okay. This is not someone who's like, I'm going to keep you for my own selfish reasons. They would never do that to you. But this is a big fear for them because they know that you deserve something that pays 10 times more than what you're getting paid, that appreciates you more than you're getting appreciated, that sees you for the worker that you are. But their biggest fear is that you realize that and that you're going to leave. I feel like in truth you do realize that, but I feel like you stay because there's something about staying in this position for the time being that matters to you. So I do feel like with your boss, if you haven't yet established that connection, there's again that camaraderie. I do feel like if you were to ever leave this position, they're gonna be a friend for life for you. It's a really sweet energy. Yeah, purpose. Okay, so maybe you found your purpose, right? But your boss does secretly think that you are someone who has a grand purpose in the world, and that you being you is so beneficial and helps them out in so many ways. Rebirth. So the change, we were talking about that, the change, right? You gave them hope again. Oh, look at this. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Source, for confirming what I was feeling. Look at these otters and how they're hugging each other. They look like this heart. You were never alone, right? And that's what I'm saying, like this camaraderie. Like I feel like even if you were to leave, you're going to have a friend for life with your boss. That's just something that's not going to go away. Like they're going to always want to know how you're doing. They want to see you succeed. They really have a very special place in their heart for you. For some, it could be romantic love, but for many of you, it's not about romance for this person. It's just about you're a genuine person. They're a genuine person, and they know how rare it is to see, find, meet, and experience other genuine people, and they'll always appreciate you for that. And that's somebody that they feel like it would just mean the world to them if they were always a part of your life. But again, trying to keep that professionalism is hard, because it's like, well, I want so badly to be pile two's friend, but also I know that there's a line that I have to draw in the sand here. And so I feel like it's like, oh, if they weren't here, then I could go beyond that line. But while they're here, it's like I'll do what I can to keep building that friendship while at the same time maintaining distance. Abundance, yeah. So what they secretly think but won't say is that you're an incredibly abundant person. I'm a limitless being, and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. That even you deserve something better than what you have at this current time. And they see it. They see your potential. And they pray that you see your potential too, but they're afraid that you see your potential as well, because they know that that could mean that they would not have you there. And not just for the work, but just having a kindred spirit around, means a lot to them. So we're going to take a look at this card. I'm going to read this from the book. We have Dodo, tread lightly on the earth. There's like a synergy between you two, right? Like there's this comment that's coming through, and I remember there was this gentleman who left being, he was on the rise to being like one of China's greatest lawyers or something like that. He was just this incredible businessman. He inherited his father's company, and he was turning the company into like a world-known company or something like that. And he ended up having a heart attack. He lived, but he went home. And after the heart attack, he decided that he was going to start running. He just wanted to run. He wanted to run in marathons around the world. He gave his company over to the board, and he just basically left his position, and he started jogging and running in these marathons. And one of the reporters that was at, one of the journalists that was at one of his events, they'd been following him in his story. And they asked him, they're like, how is it that you've never been injured? And he said, because I run as though I'm softly kissing the earth, so that she always returns gentleness to me. And that stuck with me, and that's coming through right now. And I feel like that's what it is. It's like this gentle energy between you and them. And together, it's very synchronistic, and it's very unified, because you both, it wouldn't surprise me if you're both soul family, and you may have recognized that. Even like, I really feel like I know them from somewhere, but they do feel that with you too. And you both tread lightly on the earth, but you leave a massive imprint as well. And it's powerful. All right, Dodo, where are you at? There you are. The dodo bird. Such a cute bird. It says, once Dodo flourished on the paradise that was Mauritius, an island sanctuary far away from humanity. Dodo, having no enemies, had abandoned flight long ago. Dodo was trusting and loving, innocent of the wiles of human, defenseless against their 17th century mayhem. A mayhem in which, wide-eyed with shock, she was clubbed to death for fresh meat. Her purple-blue feathers, bloody, drifting on the breeze that once caressed her. Now only Dodo's soul self remains, safe at last with her shaman spirit master. And we have the shaman coming out. Wow. If Dodo's soul is manifested in your card, she counsels you to be careful with whom you trust and what you believe. She asks you to tread lightly on the earth and to use your inner wisdom to care for its natural bounty and to remember that she, like so many others, can never return and that extinction really is forever. Yeah, you're rare. You're a rare being, and that's exactly what they think. Like, they secretly think like you're this rare individual and that you're not. That's why they fear you leaving, right? That's why fear is coming through here. But also why they take so much good care of you is because they know that they're not going to ever find another person like you to work for them the way that you have. With the world turning to this lackadaisical entitlement, to find someone who works because they have honor and integrity for themselves, it's a rare commodity. And that's exactly what your boss feels like, that you're a rare commodity that they truly, truly, truly appreciate. Oh, what a sweet reading. What a sweet reading. So this is what I see here for you today. If you felt like this was your reading, leave the little owl emoji down below and say, by living in a space of honor and integrity for myself, I impact the people that I connect with on a daily basis, knowing that it is felt by kindred and shared souls. And if it resonated with you, it means so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It will have everything you need in order to do so. With that, I would like to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this very powerful message, pile number 2. And until next time, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with Mars on it, you were drawn to this heart chakra jade gemstone with the heart chakra seed sound on it, which I believe is hum. If you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be a reading on what does your boss secretly think of you but won't say. First, I would like to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of the journey with me. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time and this space with you. And if you are new here, welcome. This is a reminder that we're all here sharing this human experience together and that this is a safe space to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic selves. We do things completely differently around here, so with that in mind, if the message happens to resonate moving forward, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. So we're going to go ahead and hop to it and find out. Source, what does pile number 2's boss secretly think of them but won't say? What does pile number 2's boss secretly think about them but won't say? What would you like to share with us today? Okay, I see the 7th house out. But before we get into it, I would like to mention, we're tapping into how another person sees and feels and thinks about you, and that is in no way, shape, or form the truth or a reflection of you yourself. Taking that into consideration and what comes through, taking it with a grain of salt. These are fun and for entertainment purposes alone, and also to help reinforce your intuition, right? To confirm your intuition. So if you're saying, well, this doesn't feel like me, don't force it to fit. But also realizing that if anything that is potentially negative comes through, that does not mean that that's who you are or what you're doing or anything like that. Okay. It's just where they're at. And and that's their energy, and I'm not going to just tell you what you want to hear, what should be positive, because I'm an energy reader. And it's interesting that I'm going this in depth about it with you, pile 3, so there might be something that's coming through. Okay, so we have the 7th house, we have Taurus energy, and we've got Pluto. Your boss secretly thinks that you're very good at building relationships and connections. That you're someone who's really confident with yourself, but that you've also changed a lot, or that you change a lot when dealing with people. Like, you're not the same person across the board. You might be kind of that chameleon energy where you blend in with a lot of different people. And they think that you do use that to your advantage. Which, if you're able to do it, why wouldn't you use it, right? It's a skill. So go for it. More power to you. I do feel like your boss is secretly wishing they could control you for themselves, okay? So now I understand why I was going into depth with that, but with Pluto energy here, there's an element of wanting to control you, or wanting to keep tabs on you, or wanting to keep you in a small space, and using that for their benefit. They see you as someone who's very stable and secure in themselves, and I feel like that rubs them wrong. Like, I feel like that rubs them a little raw. You might not get along with your boss very well. And there's this energy where they're just very, like, I want to make pile number 3 know that I'm in charge. It's like Dizzy on a brick kind of boss. Oh, I'm the boss. I'm the big one. You need to be small, and I need to make you feel small. I'm the one that's in power. But they see you as having power with other people. You're influential towards other people, and that really brings up a lot of fear within them, and it brings up all these deep emotions that they have. So there's a sense of intensity here and wanting to destroy what you're capable of doing while taking it for themselves. Wow. Okay, now I understand why Source wanted to get really deep into what was about to come through, not taking it personal, okay? Like, people are coming from where they're at, from their own traumas. Just because we wouldn't act that way does not mean that we have a right to judge others on how they act. And I know that's really hard, because it's like, well, I would always show someone compassion, or I wouldn't act that way towards them. I wouldn't want to control them. But as a people pleaser, we have to remind ourselves that we too have been in situations where we've manipulated people to gain validation, but we weren't doing it with malicious intention. For them, it could be malicious, but I'm not getting that. I'm just feeling like they're feeling threatened by you, because it reminds them of a situation that they experienced as a child. And now it's just saying, like, what can I do to find a way to control the situation so I don't feel threatened anymore? Not seeing that, wow, you have a huge potential and you're bringing this amazing asset to the team, and I'm so glad that you're here. Like, they don't see it that way, okay? Wow, all of these piles have been exceedingly different, which I appreciate in these types of readings, because sometimes there's a lot of underlying similar energies, but no, not at all. All 3 of these piles have been very different. So, all right, Source, how does pile number 3's boss secretly what do they secretly think about pile number 3 but won't say? What does pile number 3's boss secretly think about pile number 3 but won't say? Yeah, they feel like you could do their job and that they're irrelevant. Yeah, the Ace of Swords and the Fool coming out as I split the deck. Yeah, they feel like you are a better option for their job, and that they're obsolete. Like, they don't have the speed that you have, or they don't have the knowledge that you have, or the wisdom that you have, and so they're threatened because they feel like you could very easily just overthrow them, and where would they go? They wouldn't have anything to go to, and so that's why they're feeling threatened. They're trying to defend what's theirs, okay? They're very scared of losing what they've worked so hard to get, to to someone who seemingly has all the answers and all the right skill sets while not having had worked hard. But again, they don't know your past, okay? So they don't know how you acquired all those skills or anything like that. But this is someone who's trying to defend what they feel is theirs. Yeah. What does pile number 3's boss secretly think about them but won't say? Yeah, they feel like that you're going to come in and step on their toes and that you don't care about what they have going on outside of work, the reason they need this job or the reason that they're trying to, you know, take care of what's going on in their lives. Like, they just feel like you're just coming in for the position itself. And I mean, maybe you have applied for a leadership or a supervisor's or a boss position, maybe. But I feel like in general, you're not trying to take someone else's position. Like, you're trying to take a position that's opening up. But they're not seeing it that way. They're feeling attacked because, and it wouldn't just be you that they're feeling attacked by. This would be anybody who's applying for the same position that they have, whether there's open positions or not. They're just feeling attacked by people who would even consider it. Yeah. They're coming at this from a very immature place. It's a very childish place. This is like, this is my toy. I don't want to play with it, but the minute that you pick it up, I have to have it. And you could even say, but you've never been playing with it. Like, this whole time, I've seen this toy sitting off. It's dusty. It's been in the corner for so long. But I don't care. It's my toy. This is my position. I don't want you to have it. This is my position. Whether they're taking it seriously or not, it doesn't matter. It's just that's how they feel about it. This is the energy that they're in. And so they're secretly thinking that you're trying to take what they feel is theirs. And so they're trying to fight for it. Yeah. And they're feeling pressure from all ends. Like, they're feeling it. They're feeling pressured from outside sources. They're feeling pressured. Maybe they've been talked to by their boss, and, you know, their boss was like, hey, your performance isn't what it used to be, or it needs to be better so that you can maintain this position. And so it feels like they're getting it from all areas, right? So they feel stuck trying to defend this position that they have at all costs. And what they secretly think about you is that you're coming in to just take it away. To take it away, yeah. And that's disappointing for them. That's really disappointing for them because they feel like you could very easily take it without having to work extra hard for it. Yeah. The Knight of... Yeah, this is... They don't want to face the reality of the work that they have or have not put in. This is not someone who takes accountability for their day-to-day, okay? They just don't. And they blame a lot of other people, and I feel like you can only do that for so long before other people recognize that that's what you're doing, right? And you might get away with it. People get away with it for a long, long time. But eventually, people recognize, and they start to see, like, wow, this person is really trying to blame everyone else for their lack of competence or their lack of accountability or their lack of abilities and capabilities and skills. So I do feel like this is that type of boss that you have, is someone who points a finger. It's everybody else's fault. So like, if they're getting yelled at, you're getting yelled at. And whatever they got yelled at for, now you're getting yelled at for, and it is your problem. And it could just be very disheartening because you may be working extra hard and you may be trying to do everything that they're asking you to do, but it's not a one-person job. However, they don't want to get yelled at, and so they're expecting the people who can step up, which, i.e., we've seen, they feel like that's you. You should be able to carry these responsibilities on your own, but they also need to be playing a part, and I don't feel like they are. Especially with this spread. It just feels like they're very much in this youth, this wounded youth energy, this wounded child energy. So this is someone who throws a fit at every chance that they get. When something doesn't go their way, they throw a temper tantrum. And you might have likened it to a temper tantrum too. Their bosses are starting to liken it to a temper tantrum. We need someone who is stable. We need someone who is capable of handling this pressure. You could work in a very, very difficult kind of environment. Legal environment is coming in as well, especially with the Page of Swords here and the seventh house. Legal environment could be a law office, could be municipal court is coming in here, could be a sense for the government or something along those lines is coming in. The post office, even though someone wouldn't think that the post office is incredibly stressful, but there could be situations where it is. Or it's a mail department for a company, which would be high demand, high stress. So I know these are very specific, but that's what's coming through. It could be anything. You could work in any kind of high pressure job. I'm hearing construction. I'm hearing building. I'm hearing management, corporations coming through. So it could be anything, please. Just because your job wasn't named, that doesn't mean it wasn't for you. It's just this energy, right? If I spent all day naming all the types of energies that are coming through, we would be here and we would never get to the reading. So this is just that energy, though, where they're more concerned with the money than they are with their reputation. Okay, and you might think that doesn't make sense because they're trying to blame everyone else, but it's the truth. It's the money that they're after. It's not their reputation, because for them, they can pass the bullet is what I'm hearing. So I don't know. I've never heard that before, but that's what came through. They could pass the bullet. It's like, oh, you're going to yell at me for not finishing this stack of paperwork over here. Well, that's pile 3's problem. They were supposed to finish that. So they passed the responsibility onto you. And the uppers are recognizing that, okay? But they've gotten away with it for so long that they feel like there's no reason for them to change their tactics because it's worked for them. And so now I do feel like that their bosses are putting your boss under an extra amount of pressure to see if they're going to crack or how they're going to handle it. And this is going to kind of paint the picture for what's next in the company. And so that might be why there's been in-house hiring for management or boss's position. Okay, a higher up position here. But I do feel like here's the thing, like they are so busy trying to make it seem like it's your fault, and not just your fault, but other people who are working with you. I do feel like you have a small team though, so it's like a team of 3, maybe 4 people that they're in charge of. And it could be bigger than that. It could be a lot larger than that too, but I do feel like for many of you, it's a very small team that they're heading, and that's why it's easy for them. It's like, so if it's not your fault, pile 3, it's someone else that's working next to you, or it's another person that's working next to you. Like they keep passing it between all of the coworkers, and that's what it is. And it's like, that's why they've been able to do it for so long, because for a time they weren't checking that work. And so what they secretly think of you is that you're a patsy. Oh my gosh, that came through so strong. I don't think I've ever said that before, but that's what's coming in, that you're a patsy. And that you're the fall, like that's it. You're the scapegoat, right? And that's how they have viewed all of their subordinates, as scapegoats. And so you're not alone. It's not just you. Although it might feel very personal, because your boss might take you individually in and yell at you all individually, and that's to maintain this separation between you, so that you're not just complaining about the boss together, or it's like you're not having something that you can share together, right? And be like going to their supervisors or their bosses with. So they're really trying to keep things separate, and their puzzle is starting to get so chaotic that they cannot keep their stuff together at all. So they're not super focused on you at all, which is frustrating, because I do feel like you're putting forth your best foot. They're more focused on saving themselves, okay? And they're threatened by anyone who's willing to try to get into the same position like what they have. For them, they see it as like, oh, I'm entitled to this position, and so I'm going to have this position for forever, and I'm the only one that can move up, but no one else can move up, which is such a weird... It's a weird thought process, but for them, it feeds their ego and it makes them feel validated, and that's why they're doing it. And I feel like it's interesting that I chose the heart chakra stone for you to pick from, because I feel like Source is reminding you to just observe this person for the time being. Like if you've likened some of their yelling sessions to tantrums, that's a way for you to open up and see this person with eyes of compassion. This is in no way meaning to be a doormat for them, but it's to see them coming from the wounded child. And sometimes when we see another person coming from a wounded child, it's much easier for us to let all of that stuff that's going on, that they're trying to force onto us, it's much easier to let that roll off our backs and to not take it personal, because we're seeing it's not personal. We're seeing that they're coming from whenever it was that they were injured, or whenever it was that they were wounded. So they could have been in a very performance-based home growing up, where you only receive love when you're performing well. If you're not performing well, I feel like this is someone who was ignored, threatened, or abandoned when they were not performing well. Okay, that's the childhood wound that's coming out. We have Mercury energy coming in here. Think, learn, network, and communicate. So this is Source saying to think and learn from this situation. Observe. This is about observation, okay? Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo. And Gemini is a social butterfly, the one that's able to communicate with everyone, to network with everyone, really easy. And Virgo does that too, but Virgo's more an observer. Okay, they observe, they plan, they strategize what's going on in front of them. And so I feel like that's the energy that we're getting with this Mercury, is to plan, strategize, and observe what's happening in front of you instead of reacting to it. Because at one point, there's going to be an opening or an opportunity for you to respond. And it's not an all-out brawl of you complaining about your boss, of complaining about what happened, of complaining about this. It's literally going to be a situation where you are going to be talking about things that have happened, and they're going to be taking that into account. Yeah, destined to release. So there's definitely a feeling of resentment here, which is fine. That is absolutely valid, because when you get attacked so much by someone, even if they're in their trauma and their wounds, it's hard not to take it personal sometimes. But now I understand why Source wanted me to talk about what I was talking about at the very beginning, because this person is just so wounded. They don't see people as people. They see people as obstacles in their pursuit, and they treat them as such. And that destined to release is like letting go of the tension within yourself so that you can open up to the opportunities that are coming to you, rather than being so burdened by the way that they're showing up. We have the blue heron coming, which is the one that's on the cards. Okay. And on the box, it says, make a stand for what you believe in and do what feels right in spite of any judgment or disapproval from others. Exactly. Okay. So again, we're not invalidating how you feel. If you feel resentful towards this person, that's okay. If you feel angry at them, that's okay. That's not what this is. What we're saying is we don't want a reaction fueled by those emotions. Rather, coming back and observing and coming from that calm state of mind, that emotional intelligence, is where we say, wow, excuse me, wow, okay. Yeah, wow. It's where you're observing. They're really in this place where they're asking us to do more than our fair share of work, and where I don't mind taking on extra responsibilities. I also feel like I'm being asked to carry far more than I'm capable of carrying, and this is not serving me or my team well. And I feel like we're failing as a team, as a unit, because of this situation, versus they're doing this to me, and they're telling me this, and they're calling me names like this. And do you see how that's a totally different vibe, right? So instead of showing up from that fueled rage, that is okay to have that rage, it is okay to be angry, we're letting ourselves feel that anger with ourselves, to let that go, and then coming at it with a calm mind so that you can stand up for what you believe in from a very professional, clear-minded place. Sometimes it is about playing the politics, right? But the politics, we don't have to give up on ourselves, and we don't have to give up on what we believe in. But sometimes we have to play into that, what is it, the jargon. We have to use the jargon they use. We have to talk in a certain way so that we'll be heard. Because when we show up in this place of childhood tantrums, a company is just going to look at you and roll their eyes and be like, well, we're never going to believe you again. right? Versus when you show up in the King of Cups energy, where you're capable of handling your emotions. They're going to recognize that you're feeling attacked, but they're also going to recognize that in spite of being attacked, you're still trying to do your best, right? So that's that difference that we're seeing. It says, Camel, trust that you have the resources to get through the challenges before you. Yeah, so Source is reminding you that you have everything that you need to get through this challenge, right? And it might be some time, but if you're choosing to stay here for a while, you're going to be able to get through this, and you're going to be stronger because of it. On the bottom, we have Octopus. Practice shape-shifting by altering your physical appearance and your mannerisms. That's what I was saying. So that is a part of shape-shifting, right? Like showing up in a different type of energy. Rather than being fueled by your anger, being fueled by your mind, right? By Mercury energy here, recognizing that it's okay for me to be in this state where I'm saying, hey, I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to be taking this out on everybody else. I'm not going to do this or that. I'm going to come from this level-headed place. Okay, so we've got Wolverine, exactly. So Wolverine energy is fierceness. So there's definitely a lot of energy here, a lot of wanting to protect yourself. But we see here, it's you are protected. You have guides, you have angels, you have guardians that are taking care of things in the spiritual realm for you, okay? This is a really rough situation between you and your boss, and I can appreciate that need to be angry, which makes total sense. Wow, that was really loud. I hope everybody's okay. Somebody just slammed the door outside, so I'm sure the whole camera shook and everything. I don't know what was happening, but we're just gonna go with it. So yeah, there's right. So slamming doors, right? So we see that temper tantrum energy, right, coming through. That energy of wanting to just slam doors, be heard, to yell, and to be seen. It's okay, Zoe. It's okay, baby. It's okay, Angel. You guys are okay. They got scared. And not doing that, right? Instead, stepping up into this leadership energy with Elephant, right? You see how this is a very peaceful energy? There's a lot going on. There's still a lot going on. But this is taking that energy and turning it into something that's peaceful by nature and recognizing that you can handle whatever comes toward you. Source is showing you you are a leader. Step into that leadership position. There's opportunities available for you here. But it's also not being seen in the same light as your boss, because your boss is coming by fueled from anger, fueled by feeling inadequate. And that's why we don't want to come from that same energy as well, which is why it's okay to feel that way, but it's not okay to project that. And that's why we're learning how to feel into those emotions, right? So there's a transformation here with Sea Otter. A lot of transformative energy here for you, okay? So there's definitely a shift, even with Pluto coming out. I feel like there's a shift in your higher ups from your boss are looking at the team right now. So your team, they're looking at your team for potential people to replace the boss, okay? That's what this feels like. Oh, I'm so sorry you have to deal with this. Yeah, there's a new moon promise. You've asked for this. Like, you've asked for an opportunity for yourself, and so the promise is that it's coming through. But again, we can't just expect it to fall into our laps, right? We have to change ourselves to be in the energy that we need to be in so that we can receive what we're asking for. We had Bear Spirit come out, take time out, right? Continue to heal from this. This is a very difficult situation. You need time to grieve, and you need time to heal and to sit with those emotions that are arising, because every time you're getting triggered by your boss, remembering that that's a trigger from a childhood trauma that's coming up as well. It's not just dealing with a difficult person. The only reason we get triggered from anything is because it reminds us of our past wounds. And so healing those past wounds will help you to stand in this leadership energy. So Source is more focused on what opportunities are coming for you than focusing on what it is that your boss really thinks of you. And that's okay. Because I feel like it doesn't matter what your boss thinks of you, which it doesn't. It doesn't matter what anybody truly thinks of you and won't say to you, even though they're fun to look into. But I feel like the more important thing is that Source is realizing and recognizing that you wouldn't have received this message unless it was on this reading. And I trust that, right? So Yeah, sing your own song. It's time for you to be seen as the unique individual that you are outside of this very heavy energy. This is very heavy energy for anyone to deal with. So again, it's not unnoticed. Even though it might seem like they're getting away with it, this is not something that's getting unnoticed, okay? It's not. We have retrograde, reflect, refine, and redo. This is that energy of going in when you get triggered, sit with those emotions, feel those emotions out, heal those emotions, and become the leader that you are. If you want the leadership position, what do you need to do today, pile 3, to stand in leadership energy? Asking yourself that will help you reframe what you're going through. 10th house, keep it professional, baby. What did I say? Right? We have to keep it professional. We have to play the politics sometimes, especially when we work for companies. Because we're not the owners, but we have to go by policies and we have to go by their rules and we have to follow their litigations, if you will. I don't know. It's just this energy that's coming in where you really have to put in effort so you're not seeming like how your boss is seeming right now, like a child that's throwing a temper tantrum. Okay, so this one flew out, but forgiveness flew over as well. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love, and we talked about that with the heart chakra stone coming through. There's this energy where it is difficult, right? There's a lot of not wanting to forgive. You've been taking a lot from this situation, and be angry about it. Please be angry. You deserve to be angry about it, right? There's no one out here saying, don't be mad, don't be mad, get over it. Like, people who say that, they don't want you to feel your emotions. What I am saying and what Source is saying is don't let that anger fuel how you show up. Keep it professional, right? Don't let that anger fuel how you show up with your boss or how you show up with the uppers, because you keeping it professional is everything right now, showing that you can step into a leadership position and still be the leader without letting those traumas of the past run you, right? Exactly how they are right now. Your boss is letting their traumas run them. They're not coming with a sound mind. They're coming from a hurt place. They're wounded. Their ego took a hit. So now everybody and their mom that is in the vicinity has to feel my wrath. Right? That's when our ego is fueling us. That's when our anger is fueling us. Do we have a right to feel that anger? Absolutely. 100%. You have a right to feel that. But when that anger becomes the reason we start taking things out on everybody else, that's when we've overstepped. That's when we're not doing our healing. And that's when we've let our emotions get the best of us. Envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. So we see that jealousy coming back in. They're envious of you. They know that you're capable of it. And it's interesting because also I feel like you're just dealing with a lot right now. And so feeling these emotions is it's hard, right? It's hard because it's overwhelming, and that's okay. And so they're not seeing that, though. Your boss isn't even seeing that. They're not seeing you having a struggle with these emotions, but they're doing their best to break you and to control you, because it's like, oh, if I can get pile number 3 in line, then I'll have everything that I need. But there are other people who are looking at this from a much higher place, who have authority over your boss. And that's why it's so necessary for you to keep a level head. Like, even if you have to go and do some scream therapy when you get off of work, please go and do some scream therapy. It helps. I'm going to tell you from personal experience, it helps. Go find an empty field somewhere and scream your head off until you can't scream anymore. If you need to go and get some old things that you can destroy with a baseball bat, please don't destroy anybody else's property. But if you have things that you want to trash, get rid of, and you can knowingly destroy it. Do something to get the anger out, okay? That's what they're saying, because there's a lot of pent-up anger here. Release. Exactly. Like, do I have to say anymore? Release. It's time to let go. It's not that your anger isn't warranted. It absolutely is. But when it's bottled up, it starts to persist. And as it's persisting, what we're seeing here with your boss is how it's beginning to overflow and it's seeping out from every crack and crevice. And it's affecting everybody. It's not just affecting your boss. It's affecting everybody and everyone that's around your boss. It's affecting them harshly and deeply. And so it's not hard for us to actually get into that same energy, right? Anger is a very difficult emotion. And it's the one emotion that everybody tells us that we can't have, right? Like growing up, you were told, don't be angry, don't do this, don't do that. If you're angry, you get in trouble for being angry. Like, anger is the one that's the hardest for me personally, in my honest opinion. For many clients I've dealt with, I feel like anger is the one emotion that's so hard for so many people to feel in a healthy way. But remembering that feeling angry is healthy. It's still a part of our emotional scale. And it's just learning effective ways to deal with our anger. We have to learn those effective ways. So write about it, scream about it, go and unload with someone you trust, like get it out of your system, but do not project it at work. And that's why I feel like Source is saying, because there's a very fine line where you're stepping here, where you could very easily go to the other side, and that's okay. No one's going to blame you for that. But it could affect potential opportunities for you because we're showing leadership status here, okay? Life is speeding up. Yeah, things are going to change very quickly. Very quickly. And that's why forgiveness and release are coming out together, okay? And purpose. I know what I'm here to do. Remembering you have a greater purpose here. What do you want to accomplish? Why do you want to be in a leadership position? Why do you want to be seen in this position? Asking these things will help you bring that into check and help you stay in that professional energy. Okay? Source even coming in to confirm that. Keep it professional. All right. I'm going to check. We're going to read this card from the book and see what it says. Roman tufted goose. Wow. Take heed of those who give warnings. Oh my gosh, Source. Thank you. I'm so glad I brought this deck out today. Because your whole reading, it really does feel like a warning, Pile 3. It does. It just feels like you're walking a very thin line. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. Please, it's not us saying like, well, you better come back over here to the place of positivity. Look, you're human. You are allowed to feel human things. We all have. I've even talked about it on my podcast, how anger, it's a very real emotion, but it's so hard to experience and express because it takes one little teeny tiny little itty bitty thing for all of us to snap and to take it out on someone else and then regret it later. And maybe not regret it later. Like, they deserved it. They needed to be told what to do and what they needed to be told off, right? It doesn't, wherever it is that you're coming from. But this is a different situation because this is a professional situation. You're being looked at even if you don't know you're being looked at. I remember I had a boss once and he told me, he's like, if you want a management position, he's like, remember this one thing. The higher ups in the companies always have their eye on you. Whether they know you or not, they always have their eye on you. And so keeping that in the back of your mind will help keep you in this professional energy. But for this to come through, take heed of those who give warnings. This is a warning, right? They want you to know you're dealing with a difficult situation. We want to give you an opportunity. We know this is really heavy. But also, it's very easy to let your anger, your feelings, your hurt get the best of you. Not because you're you, Pile 3. It has nothing, it's not a personal plight against you. It's because you're human, just like the rest of us. Like, if I were in this situation, it would be the same for me. So it's not just because it's you. It's that this is a very difficult situation. And that's what Source is saying, especially with you getting the Roman tufted goose. Oh my gosh, this was next level. Let's read this from the book. Let's see what they have to say. Roman tufted goose. Where are you, homie? There you are. Okay. Goose. Our devoted guardian is sacred to Juno, queen of ancient Rome's capricious deities. And once she lived in Juno's temple, sited at the top of Rome's important Capitoline Hill. In 390 BCE, Gaulish marauders dared to approach this temple sanctuary and arrived so silently that neither guard nor dog awoke. But clever Goose alerted them with the loud honking, and Rome was saved. Goose has lived with humans for thousands of years, not only in our farms but also in our homes. For territorial goose, like dog, is our friend and our protector, our guard against those who would do us ill. Goose pecks our enemies hard with her strong orange beak and honks insistently until we heed her. If Goose has arrived in your cards, it is to counsel you to heed the warnings of others. Like Goose, they warn you from a wellspring of friendship, and their words do not lie. Wow, look, I'm the messenger, okay? At the end of the day, I love you all. I do. I love you all because you all make this possible for me. And you'll all hold a special part in my heart, even if I don't know you face to face. Even if I don't know your name, if I don't know your birthday, if I don't know what your favorite color is, none of that. It doesn't mean that I don't love you deeply, because you are all a part of me and I'm a part of you. And for Source to come through and say this is a message that was meant to find you now, but it would not have found you in any other reading, because this message called to you for some reason. And there's a need for you to know this at this time. So there is, if you will, darker forces at work here, but not in necessarily the idea of sense of good and evil. It's more or less these are people coming from traumatized places who don't know any better. And they don't recognize or realize what they're doing to hurt others. Okay? So this was a very powerful message. And this is what I see here for you. I don't know if there's a goose emoji down below, but if there's not a goose emoji, then leave an elephant emoji and say, I feel into my anger. Knowing that it's okay that I'm angry. And I let it go. So that I can show up as the profound, incredible, amazing leader that I am. And if it resonated with you, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, check out the description box. It will have everything you need. With that, I would love to take a quick second to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this very powerful message. And until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye.